Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining the Maryland PTAC webinar. We're delighted you could join us today. I'm your host, Yasmin Razak, and I am the Marketing and Training Coordinator here at the PTAC. Today, the topic is procurement opportunities in Howard County. The speakers will be Dean Hoff, who is a Purchasing Administrator, and Mahesh Sabnani, who is the EBO Coordinator at Howard County Office of Procurement and Contract Administration. Then we will hear from Patrick O'Malley, who is a Purchasing Manager at Columbia Association. And last but not least, we will have Brandon Mason, who is the Business and Technology Consultant at Maryland SBDC. There will be lots of opportunities for you to type out your questions in the chat box. And we do also encourage you to introduce yourself as you join the webinar. We will pause at the end of each section to do Q&A. So don't worry, we will try and get to your as many questions as possible. We are offering live transcription for our deaf and hard of hearing community. If you would like, hi, could you all mute yourselves, please? Thank you. Yeah, we are offering live transcription for our deaf and hard of hearing community. If you would like me to turn this feature on, please request it in the chat box. A copy of the slides will be emailed to you as soon as the presentation is concluded. I also need to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and the replay will be available on the PTAC website and YouTube channel. At the Maryland PTAC, it is our mission to help Maryland-based businesses fully compete in federal, state, and local government procurement processes. We offer individualized counseling and group training. Our services are free and confidential. If you would like to speak with a counselor, please go to our website, mdptac.org, and complete the application and get registered. If you have been counseled before but need further advice, please email your counselor to request another meeting. Okay, all right, great. So now we're going to go over to our first speaker. And so Dean and Mahesh, who are from the Howard County Office of Procurement and Contract Administration. Good morning.
Good morning, Yasmin. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. If you would like to start sharing your presentation, and the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mahesh. So just a quick introduction. Yasmin, thank you so much. I know that we've had PTAC out at a lot of our outreach events, so I'm sure what comes around goes around, right? So actually, we're very happy to be a part of this presentation this morning. So as Yasmin mentioned, my name is Dean Hoff. I'm the Purchasing Administrator for Howard County Government. We're actually located here in the Columbia Gateway, Columbia Gateway Drive, in the same building that PTAC's located in. I've been with the county for about 9 years now. Really enjoy working in public procurement. Prior to this, I worked in the private sector for about 20 years. It's a lot different in the public sector. You know, obviously a lot of transparency, which I really appreciate. So anyways, that's just a quick tidbit about me. So why don't we get into our presentation? Mahesh, if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide. So these are some of the accreditation that our office works very hard for. We have the QPPD, which recently changed. That used to be the 084 accreditation. And actually, it looks like we need to update our slide because we did just recently receive our MPI 2021 award. So again, you know, our staff works really hard for these accreditations. They're very challenging. We get a lot of questions, so we have to answer, provide a lot of documentation. You know, it's based on best practices within procurement, and our group here does a phenomenal job. So next slide, Mahesh. Thank you. So this morning we'll go over a little bit about our procurement process, vendor registration in our e-bidding system. We'll talk about our EBO program, as well as our local business initiative, and also talk about our veteran-owned business program. So with that, let's start about what a lot of people want to learn about is our procurement process. So how do we do business, right? So I'm actually going to take the first bullet point. Since we use our taxpayer dollars, transparency in public procurement is paramount to us. And we we always look to maximize competition. So we advertise our solicitations, again, to get as much competition on them as possible. When it comes to IFBs, or what's called competitive sealed bids, we award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder meeting the minimum qualifications. And then when we issue an RFP, or what's called a competitive sealed proposal, it's a best value award. So it's based not only on price, but also on technical capabilities. Okay, who do we buy for? Well, procurement is part of county administration, and county administration supports all the departments that support the public, right? So we help out highways. So when the roads on your street are being repaved, that's because we worked with highway to do a solicitation for paving. Or maybe the playgrounds or the tennis courts at Centennial Lake are being updated. That's because we worked with Rec and Parks to do a solicitation to find contractors that can help us do those services. Or environmental services, we work with them. So the trash, the recycling services, we work with them to competitively bid those contracts as well. We work with police, fire and rescue, the free Wi-Fi at the lakefront. That's because we worked with technology to find a vendor that could provide that service for us. Board of Elections, when we do our elections, we work with BOE to do the printing of the ballots, or the sample ballots, I should say. Health department, obviously we've been in the middle of a pandemic. We've been helping our health department, our fire department find PPE. In public works, all of our capital projects, those keep us very busy in this office. So that's just a little bit of who we buy it for. Okay, what do we buy? This is probably the most common question I get when we do outreach events. When it comes to goods, we buy everything from vehicles to playground equipment to mowers, IT equipment, chemicals for our water treatment plant, office furniture, software, a lot of goods there. Services, could be veterinary services for our animal control facilities that police manages, painting services, fencing, custodial, HVAC, landscaping. I mentioned the trash and recycling services, road resurfacing, and then professional services, engineering, consulting. We procure a lot of consulting services, environmental, legal, financial. We also procure architectural services, financial, IT consulting. So there's a lot of goods and services that we procure. And then I also mentioned our capital projects. So whenever the county looks to build a new building or to renovate a building, that's a capital project that's budgeted for, and we do a competitive bid for that. Okay, so the bidding thresholds. I'm going to go into these in a little bit more in the next slide, but just an overview. We have what we call small purchases, then we have formal bids, and we have formal bids. Okay, so with the small procurements, which are $10,000 or less, we encourage our user agencies to make direct purchases using their P card. We have built and Mahesh is going to talk a little bit more about this, but we have built a database of local businesses here in Howard County. When our agencies call us and say, hey, I need to procure, a mower, anything that's under $10,000 or $10,000 and less, we have them go to that database, find a vendor that can provide that service, and contact them, or contact them to make the purchase. So they work directly with the vendor. Then once it exceeds $10,000, but it's still under $30,000, it's what we call an informal. We'll issue a quick RFQ for request for a quote for this. We look for at least 3 quotes, whether we post this on our e-bidding system or we just do email 3, 4, 5, 6 companies to get quotes from them. It's an informal. There's a little bit of flexibility there. Then once it reaches $30,000, we get into what we call a formal solicitation. So this is the ones that we have to we are required to publicly advertise. And again, we pretty much do that with our RFQs anyway, but for formals, we are required to advertise those on our e-bidding system. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. So we'll do our IFBs or our RFPs or our EOIs, expression of interest. I think we're one of the few entities that call it EOIs. Most of them call them RF quals, or all request for qualifications. And then also the last bullet point there is very important. So cooperative purchasing. what this is, for those who may not understand what it is, let's say let's say Anne Arundel County or Baltimore County does a solicitation for environmental consulting services. They've competitively bid it, they've awarded it. Let's say they did a multiple award for 3 contracts. We can actually use that awarded contract to create what we call a piggyback. So we can just ride that contract. We don't have to put it out for competitive bid. That provides a vehicle, if you will, for us to then just use that same contract to procure the same services that they awarded from that vendor. It cuts down on the time to do a new solicitation. And the reason I mentioned that's important is because if you're a business and you have a contract with Baltimore City or University of Maryland, University of Baltimore, any public entity, we can ride that contract. So if you're talking to us and we're looking to do business with you and you have one of those contracts, let us know, because it does present a piggyback opportunity for us to take advantage of. Okay, so vendor registration. We have our e-bidding system. It's called Planet Bids. If you go to if you just Google Howard County Procurement or Howard County Office of Purchasing, it'll take you to our website, which we're very proud of. The Howard County public facing website's been completely redone. It's definitely a lot easier to navigate, much more user friendly. Anyways, just go to the Office of Procurement. You'll find a link called, if you go to what's called current solicitations, it'll list any of our solicitations are currently open, but it'll also, there's a link there to our Planet Bids system. I highly encourage you to register, because you will find out anything that we put out for bid that pertains to the goods and services that you register for, you will be notified. We like this system, Planet Bids, because you don't get your inbox full of, every time we put a solicitation out, that obviously if you're an environmental consulting firm, you don't care if we put a bid out for veterinary services. So if you register just for those service codes, goods and service codes that you provide, you're only going to get notified by our e-bidding system when we put a solicitation out that matches those product and service codes that you registered for. So again, yeah, just go to our website, find the Planet Bids link. It'll take you in there. Registration is free. It only takes a few minutes, and then you're all set. You'll get notified when we issue solicitations. Sorry, this is a little bit more about it. When we transitioned we used to do everything by paper. It was cumbersome. We spent about 3 years researching the best e-bidding system out there. We chose Planet Bids because, most importantly, it's free to vendors. Other systems out there charge vendors to enter a bid. This one didn't. That's what we liked about it. Very user friendly, and on our side also very easy to use. So again, you self-register online. You receive the notifications for goods and services pertaining to the business codes that you register for. And then once you're registered, let's say you don't get notification, maybe because we haven't done a solicitation for the goods and services that you provide, you're welcome to go on there at any time. You can look at all of our open solicitations, all the closed solicitations. You can look at the tab sheet. You can see who bid on what service, how much they bid. Again, it's a very transparent system. That was one of the things we love most about it. And again, we use this for our formal and informal solicitations. All right, and with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Mahesh to talk a little bit more about our EBO program.
Thank you, Dean. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Mahesh Sabnani, and I'm the Equal Business Opportunity Program Coordinator with the Howard County Office of Procurement and Contract Administration. Howard County is committed to creating a more diverse and inclusive business environment. The EBO program serves as a key business imperative and is embedded within our procurement practices. Through this program, we not only create, but we try to maximize opportunities for minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and disabled-owned businesses. So this morning, I'm going to talk about some initiatives and programs that the county has put in place for minority, women-owned, and disabled-owned businesses, as well as local businesses. So first, I'm going to speak about the Equal Business Opportunity Program. Through this program, the county aims to award 20% annually all for all procurements that we do, all solicitations for goods and services that we do, we aim to award at least 20% of our annual procurement. Under this program, we also have a subcontracting goal. So when a contract we award exceeds $50,000 annually, that contract has a 15% subcontracting goal on the contract, which a prime contractor can meet with utilizing minority, women-owned, or disabled-owned businesses. And just to give you some perspective, in our recently concluded fiscal year 2021, we exceeded this goal. Our participation was 29%. The prior year, fiscal year 2020, we did 27%. So these goals are we are very serious about that, these goals, and we work with prime contractors to see how we can, try to maximize the subcontracting opportunities as well as award bids directly to minority, women-owned, and disabled-owned businesses. Also, if your business is a certified business in one of these three categories and you win an award with the county, you can 100% self-perform the subcontracting goal on the contract, utilizing your certification status. That's why certification is very important, and I'll speak about certification in the next couple of slides. So that's how we try to increase our participation in the EBO program. We encourage EBO firms to directly respond to county solicitations, get registered with us. The registration process was just explained by Dean. So do get registered with us, and we encourage you to respond to solicitations directly. Also, when a solicitation has a pre-bid or a pre-bid meeting, you can attend those meetings to network with prime contractors if you're looking for potential subcontracting opportunities. We also have a list of current contracts on our website, which includes about 700 plus contracts that we've awarded. You can reach out to the prime contractors to see for subcontracting opportunities that might be available on those contracts as well. So you can market your business that way also, not only to the county, but also to the primes that have contracts with the county. When we award a contract, we work with the prime contractors to review the scope of work, to suggest ways that they can meet the EBO goal, which can be done by buying material supplies, using sub-consultants, subcontractors. So each solicitation is different. We try to work with the prime to see where subcontracting opportunity can be available so that there's maximum participation by EBO firms. We also share our directory. So again, certification is important because of that, because we share the directory not only with our user agencies when they are looking for smaller purchases like Dean mentioned, but also with prime contractors for larger contracts so that they can utilize certified firms to meet the 15% subcontracting goal. Certification, and that's why certification, it's one of the most important facets, because we want to know that when a business is being utilized on a contract, they are an authentic and bona fide certified vendor. So when we know we are counting the participation, it's authentic and bona fide, and businesses that ought to benefit from the program are benefiting. Certification in Howard County is a very simple process. It's an online process on our website. There's no application fee for it. We ask a couple of documents that one of which would be that you be in good standing with the state of Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation. We also will ask your business structure documentation like your articles of organization or incorporation, depending on the kind of legal structure your business is. I would like to add, if your business is not located in Howard County, then we encourage that you have some other certification before you apply for certification with us. If your business is located in Howard County, you can directly apply with us without having any prior certification. One of the most important eligibility factor to get certified in the EBO program is ownership. Your business needs to be 51% owned, controlled, and managed by an individual who's minority owned, women owned, or disabled owned, or a cumulative of that in case there are multiple owners in the organization. Minorities would be African Americans, Native Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans. And this slide and the next slide gives the definition of what a MBE, WBE, or DBE is. Again, the most basic eligibility criterion is 51% ownership by one or more individuals in these categories. There are also a couple of other certifications that we recognize, one being the State of Maryland Department of Transportation, that's a state certification, also the City of Baltimore certification, a federal certification like the SBA 88 or the WOSP certification that's offered to the federal government. We also accept certifications from other government jurisdictions. So if you have one of those, you can apply for certification in our program, and we know that you've kind of already been vetted by one of another government entity. If their certification standards are on par with us, then we accept that certification and we'll certify you. What certification does? Some of the things we just mentioned, Dean mentioned, we share when a user agency is looking for smaller purchases, we share the directory of EBO firms and local firms. We also share these directories with prime contractors when they are looking to meet the goals on the projects. We notify you of workshops, webinars that we do that, sometimes we partner with organizations like the PTAC, SBDC, the SBA, MDOT. So we bring in different resources that can benefit your business, not only with how to do procurement with Howard County, but kind of, how it might assist you with your business growth and development. So we also have these educational workshops. So certification also offers you that, information like being in our directory. The next program I'm going to speak about is the Local Business Initiative. The goal of this program is to increase the procurement dollars that flow and keep them within the county. So whenever we do solicitations, we encourage local business participation. One of the key and sole eligibility to be in this program is that your principal place of business needs to be in Howard County. If your principal place of business is in Howard County, we highly encourage you to be part of this program so that we know you are in the database when we are sharing this database with user agencies and vendors, that they can utilize your business. That's a good way that they can find you. If you qualify for the EBO as well as the local business program, highly encourage you to apply for certification in both programs. The process is very smooth and seamless. It should take you less than 15 to 20 minutes if you have your documents in place to apply. Once you apply in one program, the software pulls the information from your first certification into your second certification, which populates most of your information, and it becomes more seamless and easy to apply. So if you fall into these both categories, highly encourage you to apply in both categories. Some of the benefits of the Local Business Initiative program. Just recently, less than a month ago, our county executive signed a new executive order where he enhanced the benefits in this Local Business Initiative. That's great because we have commitment from our top leadership. So under this program, we encourage user agencies to look for local businesses when they are making purchases under $10,000. Also, when we do RFQs, requests for quotes, which are from $10,001 to $29,999, we will solicit quotes from local businesses whenever possible. Also, one of the new enhancements to the Local Business Initiative is that when we award a contract, a certified local business who submits a bid, and if their bid is within 10% of the winning bid, if that winning bid is a non-local firm, then we may award the contract to the local business, the certified local business. So again, it's very important that you be certified in our directory. In case there comes a situation that you fall within 10% and you're the second lowest bidder, your certification will give you this benefit to be awarded the contract. Also, when we do requests for proposals, like Dean mentioned, we will have a 10% evaluation factor awarded to the business when we're evaluating on a 100-point basis. 10% would be for your certified local business designation with the county. So again, I would like to reiterate, so if you are not certified, and please do get certified, doing business with the county will offer you these benefits. Some of the other benefits also is that we notify you of solicitations over $10,000. Also, for non-capital projects, if there's a tie bid between a local and a non-local business, the local business will be awarded. So again, these are some of the benefits offered through this program. Certification is a similar process, like I mentioned, like the EBO certification, online application, similar documentation, no application fee. The only difference between the EBO and the local certification is that the EBO certification has to be renewed every 2 years, whereas the local business initiator certification does not expire as long as your business remains in the county, your principal place of business remains in the county. The next program I'm going to speak about is the Veteran-Owned Business Enterprise Program. Through this program, the county has an aspirational goal of 1% to be awarded to businesses that are certified with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs as a veteran-owned small business or a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. So we also have this in all our solicitations. So we are trying to encourage participation with our veteran-owned businesses as well. That concludes my portion of the presentation. And so me and Dean will be open to any questions at this moment.
Thank you, Mahesh, and thank you, Dean, for a great presentation. It's very informative. Okay, so now's your opportunity to get your questions answered. There are a couple in the chat box, but if you have any questions, now's the time to type them out. So let's see, the first question is, could you let me know if WBENC is an acceptable certification?
Yes, the WBANC certification is acceptable. So 2 of the non-government certifications that we accept are the WBANC, WBENC, and the NMSDC, National Minority Supplier Development Council. So these 2 certifications are acceptable.
Okay, thanks. Another question, similar vein. Having the MD dot certification, is this enough to register my business in Howard County?
Yes.
Okay.
With that certification, you can register in Planet Bids. You can register in Planet Bids actually without any certification. With the MDOT certification, you can get certified in the Howard County EBO certification if your business is not located in Howard County.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, we make custom, oh no, sorry, that's not it. Are there any upcoming emergency or disaster management opportunities coming up? These services are often not listed because they come up based on immediate needs.
Good question. So we actually do have a contract right now with Haggerty Consulting for our disaster management services. And I believe that contract has 1 more year on it. So that is a solicitation that when that contract does expire, we'll be putting that bid out, a new bid out for those services.
Okay, thank you. It looks like there are no more questions. All right, great. So, well, thank you both for that presentation. And for the people in the audience, if you have any further questions, we can always come back and do Q&A at the end of this presentation. So keep typing out your questions. Okay, right now we are going to go to our next speaker, who is Patrick O'Malley, who is a purchasing manager at Columbia Association. And I am going to be sharing his presentation.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Patrick. So just let me know when to turn the slides. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Pat O'Malley, Director of Purchasing at Columbia Association in Columbia, Maryland. And of course, we're located within Howard County. Next slide, please. So who is CA? We are known as CA, or the Columbia Association. We are a nonprofit community services corporation, and we operate Columbia, Maryland. That's a planned community of greater than 100,000 residents and several thousand businesses. And our mission is to enhance the quality of life for people who both live and work here in the county. So the types of facilities, programs that we operate are 3 man-made lakes and all the services associated with them, 40 ponds, many parks, smaller parks, tot lots, 90 miles of pathways. We have community centers and neighborhood centers. We operate an art center. We have 23 outdoor pools, which is significant. That's probably the largest in any community in the United States, I might imagine. We have an indoor swim center. We have an Olympic-sized ice rink, outdoor tennis clubs, indoor tennis clubs. We operate 2 golf courses, which are Hobbits Glen and Fairway Hills. We operate the Columbia Horse Center. We have a sports park that has batting cages and picnic pavilions and roller skating. 3 large health and fitness clubs. So we have the Columbia Gym, the Columbia Athletic Club, and Supreme Sports Club. And that's a large part of our revenues there. And we maintain over 3,600 acres of permanent open space within Columbia, Maryland. Next slide, please.
My apologies.
It's okay. I appreciate your help, Yasmin.
Okay.
So what do we buy? You know, kind of same question that Dean presented to you. I'm sure that's why you're here, why we're here. How can we do business? You know, that's why we're here today, this morning. How can you do business with CA? Well, we purchase electrical services, plumbing, heating and air conditioning, elevators and anything that has anything to do with elevators, and flooring and roofing, sprinkler systems, locksmith services, painting services, fire intrusion detection, fitness equipment. So we have those 3 fitness clubs, so lots of fitness equipment and fitness equipment maintenance as well. That's a fairly large contract, up to $100,000 a year just for the maintenance of the equipment that we have. Construction contracts of small types and larger types, but mostly smaller. Architects, engineers, a fair amount of stormwater management. We work closely with the county on that as well, but we do, that's a large program at the Columbia Association and at the county. So a lot of stormwater management, both from the architectural side, but also from the, the construction side of that. And your normal, pressure washing, pest control, audio visual, and those types of things. Similar types of goods and services as the county, your normal office supplies, janitorial supplies, fuel, oil, snack food. We do before and after school care within the Howard County school systems. So that's an interesting program for the Columbia Association as well. We put in towels in there because we have the 3 clubs. It just happens to be a lot of towels. That's all. Next slide, please. Okay, how do you do business with the Columbia Association? What's the first step? So really the first step is go to our website. We have what's called a bidders list registration form. Go to our website, go down to the bottom, you'll see procurement. There's just a form. It just simply gives us your contact information. And in addition to the contact information, you will also indicate to us the goods and services that your company provides. We put that information into a database so that when we go out for bid, we know who you are and what you sell, and we will automatically send to you an invitation for bid or an RFP for the goods and services that you've indicated to us that you sell. So it's really pretty straightforward. And we strongly encourage you to do that. Next slide, please. So if you want to talk to us in a little bit more detailed, have a more detailed conversation, contact myself, and my contact information is there, or Mike Boston, who works with me, and we'd be more than happy to have a longer discussion as to your firm, who you are, what you sell, and how we can do business with the Columbia Association. So I thank you, everyone, for your time, and I would like to take questions now at this time.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for that presentation. Okay, so I do see some questions coming in. I think they were mainly targeted at Howard County, but if you have any questions at all for Patrick about doing business in Columbia, now's your time to type them out, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. So right now, it doesn't look like there are any, Patrick. Okay. So you've been let off the hook there. So we might, I know Dean has been typing out some answers in the chat box. So I don't know if there's anything, Dean, that's jumped out at you that you've answered that you think people should know.
Just one thing I did forget to mention, that if they go to the Howard County Office of Purchasing website, just look for one of the links. It's called Current Contracts. That will give you a list of all, I think it's about 740, 750 contracts we currently manage. It has a lot of useful information. It's, who the vendor is, when the contract expires, how many renewal options, who the buyer is, so you can reach out directly to the buyer if you have any questions about the contract or the upcoming solicitation that we'll be working on. So a lot of useful information on our website.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, another one's just come in. Do you have a standing contract for furniture? That's for Howard County.
We do. We have quite a number of contracts for office furniture. So again, they're all listed on our website. How many renewal options are left. I think we have eight or 10 contracts for office furniture. We do procure a lot of office furniture.
Okay, great. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go to our next speaker, who's Brandon Mason. Brandon, if you would like to share your screen, please.
Sure.
And he is the business and technology consultant at Maryland SBDC.
I'm also the technology team director for the state, as well as handling a lot of the small businesses that come through Howard County. So I'm pretty familiar with all of this stuff, these different types of things. If you're not familiar with what the SBDC does, let me go ahead and give you a little bit of an idea. So we have 22 locations throughout the state of Maryland. Most are located on a per county basis, except for on the Eastern Shore. You guys have to share a couple of counselors. I also noticed that a number of you are from out of state. The SBDC operates in all 50 states. So you do have an SBDC counselor locally who can also help you and provide the same type of assistance that I can provide businesses here in Howard County. We're affiliated with the University of Maryland, Frostburg State University, Salisbury University, the College of Southern Maryland, and Hartford Community College. We work closely with a number of HBCUs. We provide an awful lot of training workshops and seminars. Those are all free right now. Some of those are usually pretty expensive to take, especially like the CEO Accelerator program that we run. We also offer free confidential one-on-one business counseling, and you can sign up for that at marylandsbdc.org. Some of the more specific type of offerings we have here. The big one is the one-on-one business counseling for free, and you will be able to talk to your counselor with whichever county you're in. I noticed someone was in Hagerstown. Herb Melrath is our counselor out there. He's great to work with. We offer a lot of business classes, community seminars and workshops, strategic planning. We assist with permitting, regulation, and government compliance. And we also, probably the thing that's more important for you guys to know is that we also help with some of these registrations that you're trying to apply for when you're getting into government contracting. So we can assist with your EDWOSB, your WOSB certification, your SDVOSB, VOSB certification, 8A certifications, hub zone certifications, the real basic stuff like getting your cage code and your DUNS number. We can assist you through that if you're very unfamiliar with the process. And we can also assist with MBE, DBE, and SBE certifications, as well as a number of other certifications that might be local or regional based. Your SBDC consultant can absolutely help you through that. For the most county-based, a couple of the more rural you get, the more likely it is that you have a counselor that's handling a couple of different counties. But for the most part, you should be able to get into see a counselor pretty quickly. Now, one of the other things that I do as well, which overlaps a lot with government contracting, happens to be a lot of work with businesses that are producing intellectual property or technology. And if that's something that you are doing as a business, we can also assist with that through our technology team. We have an awful lot of technology partners and resources that we work with. If you are developing intellectual property, we can work with you on that to help you get through the commercialization plan, as well as potentially get you some funding to get started up, especially if you're in a more rural county. There is a couple of programs around the state now that offer basically technology startup assistance. Those are in more rural areas and urban areas. Those programs are typically run through TEDCO, but I work with TEDCO consultants pretty closely around the state. TEDCO is a public-private agency here in Maryland that helps companies develop technology. So there are a number of different resources that I can connect you to and get you get you from not having a certification to getting into having certification, and then getting into an incubator or licensing technology, or potentially even funding your startup, depending on what you're doing. Now, if you're doing something where we're using university-based IP, and that's something that it's called technology transfer. We do this an awful lot with the university. There's a lot of funding available to help you do that. That's here in the state that you can apply for. There is something called I-Corps. I'm an I-Corps mentor for the National Science Foundation. It's a specific process that we teach technology companies when they're starting up to kind of develop their market, as well as develop the business plan simultaneously while searching for customers and investment. That program is available here in the state. There's a lot of those programs that are available in other states as well. The University of Maryland just happens to be a National Science Foundation I-Corps node, which means there's a lot more resources available if your business is located in the state. There's a number of other ones. The one that I wanted to mention to you guys is the Mips program here, the Maryland Industrial Partnership Program. Now, if you're doing any type of research and development, this program, depending on the size of your company, will offset your R&D costs pretty significantly. If you have less than, I think, 7 or 8 employees, they'll offset up to 90% of your research and development budget by working with the state of Maryland. There's a proposal process. It's very similar to the Small Business Innovative Research Program, which I noticed a couple of the people on the call here have actually worked with me on SBIRs before. That's usually where I touch a lot of government contractors or new government contractors to get them through that process. It's usually a first government proposal. And we actually do have a upcoming cohort, I think it'll be in January, that will be co-running with TEDCO on putting together your first SBIR, Small Business Innovative Research proposal for the federal government. It's I think it runs about 4 months in total. And the bulk of the program teaches you how to write a really good government proposal. So even if it might not be exactly what you're looking at, the cohort itself is fantastic in teaching you how to be responsive, especially if it's something that falls under the FAR or the DFAR when it comes to putting together a responsive proposal. Here's a little bit more information on the Mips program, and I can connect you with Ronnie if you're interested in that, or you can connect with me and I can connect you with a whole bunch of different people when you're looking through that. There's also the Chesapeake Bay Seed Fund, which can do Series A rounds with dilutive and non-dilutive equity. The other thing that you might also be looking at is the Maryland Momentum Fund. The I-Corps program that I mentioned as well is I think it's about 6 weeks to go through the entire program. If you're doing anything related to intellectual property or developing any type of business model, I-Corps is incredibly helpful. If you are in Virginia, they actually have a program called ICAP. The Virginia ICAP program is a regional-based I-Corps run by the state, and those are really, really helpful. You get a lot of hands-on experience because they run them in your local area in Virginia. Now, A lot of the things that we do on the technology team doesn't get seen sort of normally, but it is applicable here. We minority inventors and innovators roundtable that we run, which has been especially popular since we've expanded across the state. We have a lot of mentorship partners. So if you are doing one-on-one counseling with the SBDC, like I mentioned, we focus a lot on sort of the structure, the business plan, the business model, but we also focus on financing as well. So we work with other agencies like the Maryland Technology Council, as well as the I-Corps program and TEDCO concurrently, so we can help try to find you some capital, as well as get you set up to actually receive capital. It's one thing to write a proposal. It's a whole nother thing to have all of your registrations put together properly and have a bank account that's registered in the right name and then the right state, and then actually get paid for the work that you're doing. There are a lot of steps in that. The other thing that we have had as well as we've had multiple client SBIR wins over the last few years through through a grant with SBA called the FAST grant that I work with. And we also have been working with the U.S. House of Representatives on a transforming manufacturing and digital economy work group, because we have had, like I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, there's been a lot of supply chain issues. We're working with a lot of the small businesses around the state that are dealing with manufacturing and trying to figure out some of the different issues and figuring out a way to stopgap some of those issues as well as kind of fix those together. So just in case, this is a little bit in the weeds, but for some of you it might be applicable. The SBIR program that I was mentioning is a program that develops and invests in really early stage technology. So what we typically measure is like TRL 1 through 4. So that's sort of an idea all the way to a feasibility study. If your technology is beyond that, we can also assist you as well. So it doesn't just have to be an idea. If you've got something that's actually working in the field right now, and you are looking to do a commercialization ramp up, or you're looking to do a large market launch, we can also assist in that way as well. The way we assist is we work as a team with you. Usually start with me if it's a really early stage project. But you can see that we also do have a couple of other counselors that handle a number of other things, including defense, technology transfer, and cybersecurity. The big thing that I wanted to show you is this is sort of the one-on-one counseling capability that we have for you. So if you are in a commercialization process, if you're in the research and development process, we can help you out through these different issues. Usually the biggest thing that we run into is just project management, and communicating project management within a proposal is one of the biggest things we end up running into when we're dealing with a government contractor or looking for government contracts. The last thing that I wanted to kind of finish with is that if you're not dealing with technology, we can assist you in a number of different ways. This chart sort of shows all the different ways that you can raise capital with your company. The SBDC focuses a lot sort of on the bottom part here, normally on the revolving loan funds, micro enterprise funds, SBA loans. We can help put together a loan package for you. We can help put together your business plan so that it's actually financeable. What we handle with the technology team is usually up here on the high tech side, so that SBIRs, the individual angels, we also can help you, get yourself set up so that you can go through this high tech, high growth path as well. We work with a number of different partners to do that. But if you're not a high tech company, it doesn't make a difference, because it makes it a whole lot easier for us to get you a loan through a bank, which is always the way that personally I would prefer to help you out. If you are looking for a growth loan, we can absolutely help you do that. And your local counselor can help you do that, as well as connect you to local banks, which may be willing to fund your business in ways that you may not expect. A lot of the thing that we run into with the SBDC an awful lot is that people will go to a bank and get rejected, but they're not always rejected for the reason that they expect, not because it's a bad business plan or that they're not financeable. It's just that you don't fit into the business that bank that you went to is looking to fund. So finding that right lender is really, really important. And your local SBDC counselor is incredibly helpful for that. And if you're doing construction, we can also help with surety bonding as well. So we can help you put together all those different types of loan packages on top of these certifications as well. And I can take questions if there are any now.
That's great. Thank you so much, Brandon.
Yeah, no
that was
problem.
very informative. So yeah, of course, now's the time to ask your questions for Brandon and for any of the speakers. We do have a question, Brandon. Could you put, is the link for the business development program for state level contracts in the presentation? Or is it something you can put in the chat box?
Yeah, so if you just go straight to our website, that's probably the best way to do that. And you can go ahead and see that link right here on the screen. And I believe that you're sending out the PowerPoint as well, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so you'll have those links as well.
Okay, great. Another question is funding just for tech companies?
It depends on the context that we're talking about. The SBIR program, yes, it's only for tech companies. You have to have something that's state of the art and innovative, and it has to be something that the government is willing to purchase. So the SBIR program is a really large program. I think it's 2% of any agency that has over, I think, a few $1 billion in research funding has to go to the Small Business Innovative Research Program or its sister program, the STTR, the Small Technology Transfers Program. Okay, so there are companies for companies that are not in the SBIR sphere, Gloria. Those tend to be down here on the bottom side. So the biggest thing that we find when we're working with clients to kind of get them funding is they really don't have a good idea as to how much money they need. If you're looking at like a standard loan under $50,000, there aren't a whole lot of private banks that are going to fund that. So we usually look for things called micro enterprise loan funds. The one that I work with an awful lot that does an awful lot of even startup funding and even with poor credit is the Latino Economic Development Center out of DC. You don't have to have a Latino-owned business to work with them. They work with all small businesses. I think it's actually, let me bring it up on the screen real quick. It's the LEDC Metro. Yeah, there we go. This is a great way to get funding, especially if you're starting up, as long as your credit is pretty okay. It's a good way to get a startup loan, and because most of the time when we're talking about lending, the startup part is the hardest part. And when we're talking about government contracting, you run into a lot of different things when we're talking about things to work. You know, if you have a contract and you're a subcontractor and you have net 30 terms on top of your prime's net 30 terms, and you just win a contract for 15 people, now you've got to cover the overheads for 90 days or so. It's important to really, really have your financing and budgeting together, so it makes so much more sense to think about this before you win that contract, because if you can't finance, 3 months of 15 people, you're going to have a hard time performing on that contract. A line of credit is usually the best bet whenever we're talking about government contracting, just to have a little bit of reserve there. But the other thing that I can tell you that's been really helpful throughout the pandemic is to not just stick with one bank. Have multiple banking relationships. Some of the really big guys do things well. Some of the smaller local banks do things a little bit better than they do. Credit unions typically don't do a lot of small business lending, but they do an awful lot of equipment lending. So having those multiple banking relationships that you can tap into as a government contractor is really, really important, because at some point you're going to win a contract and we're going to have to try to cobble together funding from a couple of different sources to be able to fund it. So having those and having that in place can be a really, really big, important thing to have. when we're talking about government contracting and getting yourself set up to properly do it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. So lastly, I'd like to introduce Richard Paden, and he is the procurement specialist for the Maryland PTAC, and he's located 3 days a week in Howard County. So Richard, if you'd just like to tell us a little bit about, the days that you're there, exactly where you are, and how you can help government contractors.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Richard Paden. I'm with Maryland PTAC. As Yasmin mentioned, I'm in Howard County on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. I'm located in the same building as Howard County Purchasing. I'm on the 3rd floor, right above the dean's office. What I really do is help you, understand how to sell to the government. When I say government, that's a broad term. So we help people with county government business, local municipals like the city of Hyattsville, for example, or the Columbia Association. It's not just everything in one county. And from counties, we do provide assistance with state procurements and federal procurements. We specialize in small business development, SBDC opportunities like Brandon does. We also are here for a lot of other things, like if you want to get your small business certifications. Right now, there's been a change in finding opportunities with the government, federal government, and they went to a new system called sam.gov. It's a totally new system from what you might have seen in the past. And we're helping people navigate their way through the new system so they can update their registration which is annual registration, and their SBA profiles. I spend a lot of time with people doing what we call marketing strategy, where we work on not looking at an RFP after the RFP is out, but we find out about contracts that are in place. Dean mentioned that earlier, but at the county level, where they have a list of current contractors, I encourage you to look at anywhere, federal, state, or local, for the current contracts, because they have a time limit on them. So if you look at them now, they're going to expire in a year. You've got a year to position yourself to be on a winning team. 30 days before the RFP comes out or 2 days after the RFP comes out, it's really hard to get on a winning team, because those teams have been thinking and planning and plotting to put together a winning combination before the RFP came out. So we sort of teach you about that proactive approach as opposed to a reactive approach of just writing compliant proposals. And then of course, Yasmin runs our training program, and she does a great job. You can go to our website. It's MDPTAC, Maryland PTAC, MDPTAC.org. And you can see the training schedule for this month and the next 3 or 4 months as well. I encourage you to look at those classes, especially learn how to do pricing. It's not how much am I going to charge. There's your direct labor, there's overhead, there's fringe benefits. There's all sorts of things that come into place, other G&A expenses, to come up with a total price. And we have a couple of great trainers who will familiarize you with that process. I also work with people and try to tell them it's really hard to start a small business and win a prime contract. If you know somebody and you're well positioned before and you had a good business plan before you started, yes, it can happen. But for most people, the best strategy is to start with a subcontract. And subcontracts are really nice because they're between you, a business, and another business. So you don't need to wait for an RFP to come out or anything like that. You're just going to go to a business and sort of talk to them about how you know the agency, you know what the agency needs, and it's something you provide, and talk to the client. It could be SAIC or Circle or whoever. And they're going to welcome you if you are bringing knowledge and business to them, and you could start on Monday. They don't have a long waiting period or anything like that. If you know what's going on and you can bring them business, they'll get you on faster than you can shake a stick at. So that's what I do in a nutshell. Thank you for giving me a chance to explain it. If there are any questions, please ask.
Hi, Richard.
Start by the office.
Thank you so much, Richard. Yeah, we do have a question. So will you be able to assist me to pair up with prime contractors on an IT contract? How do you assist clients when they want to do that?
Well, it isn't like picking a couple of companies and saying, here's some great companies you can work with. The whole thing is really driven by the business opportunity. So if you're doing some marketing, we'll just pick on FAA, for example, at the FAA, and you know what's going on there. And I can help you identify who the prime contractors are with the FAA and who the small business contractors are. And I can also inform you of a main contract that they use called eFast. And you can see all the contractors, different niches that they're in. So then we can, now we've identified it, now we're going to qualify them. And by qualify them, we're going to get you to the area, just like Brandon was talking about, with a bank that does loans for what you want and not a bank that doesn't do what you want. So get you in the right areas and get you lined up with somebody. But no, we don't just say, hey, I know the guy over at Circle, he's right outside my window, by the way, and here's Bill's number, give him a call. That doesn't happen. What happens is getting you to line up with someone who's well qualified for the work you want to do. That wasn't confusing.
No, that's fine. I'd just like to get a few questions about how do I become a PTAC client. I've put the link in the chat box. Just if you obviously you signed up for this event, so you're already sort of halfway through the process. All you have to do is log back in. We ask you a few questions about your business, and then once you sign the form, you will be submitted to be reviewed by our intake team. And they will check to see that you are ready for counseling. The only stipulations we place is that your business is in Maryland and that you have been established at least for 1 year. And then a counselor will reach out to counsel you. And we can only counsel you on anything to do with government contracting. If it's general business help you need, then you need to go and speak to SBDC, our kind of sister organization. They also have a free counseling program as well. Right, yeah, I think.
One last thing, I noticed a couple questions there. In the old days, you used to be able to come to me directly and then I would counsel you and add you as a client. We don't do that anymore. So, I'll be happy to pass out my email address, but you really need to do what Yasmin was saying. Go to our headquarters, sign up there, become a client, and you'll be assigned to one of 2 counselors. And the odds are 50-50 you'll get me. So.
All right, great, thank you. And I'd just like to thank all our speakers today. Really appreciate the work that you do for small businesses in Maryland. It really does make a difference. And of course, to all of you in the audience, you're the ones that get the wheels turning in this state. We appreciate you. We are trying to support you as much as we can, particularly during the crisis that we've all been going through for the last 18 months. We all need the help we can get. So please don't be shy. Reach out to people that you need to speak to, whether it's the PTAC, SBDC, or one of the other organizations that you're interested in on the event today. We all do genuinely want to see you succeed. I will be sending out all the slides shortly, so check your email probably in the next 30 minutes. And a copy of the replay will be available on the PTAC YouTube channel later this afternoon. So you can rewatch it or share it with your team if you wish to. So thanks again, everybody. Hope you learned a lot from this, and we hope to see you again at a future PTAC webinar. Take care, bye-bye.